What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Night YouTube channel. In today's video, guys, I am bringing you Dicemancy by Eduardo Aguilar Leal. Guys, this is a prototype version of Dicemancy right here. The game is currently not released just yet, so I'm giving you guys a sneak peek of Dicemancy. And yeah, guys, it says that it won Solo Game of the Month, so that ought to tell you right there how good the game is. So again, it's got a disclaimer on the back of the box. It says that this is a prototype game. Everything is subject to change. It's a print and play prototype that Eduardo made at home. It's not factory quality. And yeah, some of the cards are a little bit thicker since they were made, for print and play. And the dice are maybe a little bit bigger than what they're going to be in the final copy. So everything will fit in the box. It does fit in this VHS box, though, even though everything is a little bit thicker and the dice are a little bit bigger. The only things that don't fit are the rule books, but I imagine everything will fit in the final version of the game. So yeah, he says, please have fun and share feedback. And to let them know if there's any rule clarification. So yeah, I think I've got a pretty good grasp on it, guys. So I'm going to teach you how to play Dicemancy, and we're going to go through like the first beginner tutorial mode of the game to give you guys a taste of what Dicemancy is about. I haven't played too far into it. There's a bunch of different scenarios that you can play. So yeah, we'll get into that in the future on the channel. But first of all, I just want to mention, man, the artwork is fantastic. I don't know if it says who did the artwork. I don't know if it was Eduardo. We also have a couple of little booklets right here. There's a rule booklet, and then there's a scenario booklet, and it might even say on here who did the artwork. Let's see if there's like some information in here. Let's see. Is there anything in the back? There might not be, actually. Oh, we got credits here. Art. Cole Monroe Chitty. I am sorry if I butchered your name, but Cole, dude, your artwork is awesome. It looks really good. And then the graphic design is by Drew Corkle. Really, really good stuff. There's a bunch of special thanks in the back, thanking a bunch of people. I see Diego in here. I see Natasha in here, the creators of Mini Moons. And of course, Diego, he made Grim Grove also. So yeah, there's a bunch of people back here that I guess play tested the game. Really cool stuff. So yeah, guys, the artwork is fantastic. The game is super fun. So let's hop right into it, man. Again, we've got this rule book right here. And of course, this is a prototype rule book. So I'm sure the final rule book will be a little bit more official, and some stuff in here is subject to change, I'm sure. But this was really helpful to read through, to learn how to play the game. And there was also a little video that Eduardo made that teaches you how to play the game as well. So that helped out a lot too. So shout out to Eduardo for that. And then there's also a Dicemancy scenario book. And this is going to have a bunch of different scenarios in it. So when you play through the game, you're going to be going through these different scenarios that have like a little thematic synopsis for the scenario that you're going to read. And then it tells you special rules about the scenario, the victory condition, what character you need to use, the spells that you get for that scenario. And then it tells you how to set up the round and how to set up the row of monsters. So essentially in Dicemancy, it's kind of like a tower defense game. I'm going to set these off to the side for now. It's basically like a tower defense game. And we're going to get rows of monsters out on the board here. And they're steadily working their way to the left over this way toward our castle walls. And they're going to be trying to bust down our castle walls and break through and push through to the other side. And if that happens, you lose the game. So our goal is to try to destroy the monsters before they make it through. And again, each scenario has a particular win condition that you need to, a requirement that you need to meet in order to beat that scenario. So we're going to hop right into it, guys. We're going to move the box off to the side. And we're going to jump right into the playthrough here. So let's go over some of the components real quickly. So starting up here, we've got, this is kind of like the round overview card, and it's really neat. It's got the round overview right here that tells you the 3 different phases of the game: the player phase, the monster phase, and the cleanup phase. And of course, we'll go over those. It's got the round tracker up at the top, and I've already got it set up for the first scenario, which I'll show you guys in just a moment. We've got our crystallized card over here with our D10 set to 0 right here. This is going to keep track of how many crystals you have. You can have up to a maximum of 10, and you'll see how that works soon enough as well. We've also got our character card right here, Fleur. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hopefully I'm not butchering a lot of the names in here, but I believe it is Fleur. And she's like a little witch person. Got a little black cat down here. Really, really cool artwork. So that's the character that we're going to be playing as in this scenario. Then down here, we've got the spell slot and monster card. So on one side of the card, you've got your spell slot card. It'll tell you what type of spell it is, and these are going to pertain to your 3 different spells in your spell book section down here. So like for the blue one, that is your Water Whip spell. If you've got a green one like this one here, that pertains to your Rock Wall spell, and a red one goes with your Fireball spell. And then down below on the bottom half of the card, it'll have a die, and it'll tell you like basically a requirement that you need in order to activate the spell on the top part of the card. So for instance, for this one, for the Fireball, you would need a maximum of 3. So you could have a 1, a 2, or a 3 max on here, and that would activate the spell. You can't go above that. Of course, you're going to have different ones, like for this Rock Wall spell here, you need an even number. So you would need a 2, a 4, or a 6 to place on there in order to activate the spell. And there's different requirements for the different types of spells. You'll also notice too that on the top of this spell, there's 1 dot, and on the top of this one, there are 2 dots, and that's going to be important whenever you're laying out the monsters and building out the rows of monsters. And speaking of the monsters, on the other side, you've got monsters here. You've got these level 1 monsters that have the 1 dot up in the top corner, and then you've got your level 2 monsters that have 2 dots in the top right corner. That one might be a little hard to see. There we go. Maybe that's a little easier to see. Those 2 little white dots up in the top right corner. And so, yeah, you're going to have a bunch of different monsters in here. There's actually 5 different types of monsters, and they come in each color. So you got the lizard, and you'll have a red, green, and blue. Also, it's worth mentioning too, or I'll show you that. I'll show you that in just a moment. You've also got a wolf. You've got a slime. You got the bat. I don't know if we saw the bat yet. I don't think we did. And is that it? And then you got an imp. You got an imp. So those are the 5 different ones. And then for the level 2 monsters, you've got titans, dragons, and griffins. And it's worth mentioning too that in this first scenario that we're playing, the sort of intro scenario, you only use the fire, water, and earth type spells and monsters, but there's actually 3 other types of elements. You've got air, which is the purple. You've got the dark, which is the sort of dark blue. And then you've got the light, which is yellow. So there are other monsters as well. And of course, you've got the same ones. You've got the griffins, the titans, and the dragons for the level 2 monsters. And then for the level 1s, you got the wolf, the imp, the bat, the lizard, the slime, and was that it? The lizard, the bat, the slime, the wolf, and the imp. Yep, that's it. That's all 5 of them. So yeah, you've got a bunch of these over here too. These are going to come into play in future scenarios and in scenarios later in the game. I believe once you get to scenario 3, you use all 6 types. And I believe Eduardo said that that's kind of like the base game. That's sort of like the vanilla base experience. That's where all the playtesting, or most of the playtesting, took place was at that point in the game. And then I'm assuming he probably made some scenarios that were a little bit harder, and then made some scenarios that were a little easier by removing some of these. But the core of the gameplay was designed around having all 6 types in play. So once you hit that 3rd scenario, that's probably like kind of like the sweet spot where the game really starts to shine, since that where it was mainly built around that. I haven't reached that point just yet. I'm still struggling with the 2nd scenario, so we're gonna be doing the first one today though, and hopefully we can get a win. I've beaten it a couple times now, so as long as you guys get to check out the game and see how it works, that's what really matters. It doesn't really matter if we win or not. Okay, cool. So that's the spell slot cards. And then the monster cards. Also, it's important to note too, we should go over some of the little icons and stuff on the monster cards. Obviously, you got the name, you got what type of monster it is. It's a fire monster in the case of the bat. It's a level 1. And then it shows you what type of attack it does. If it's got the bow and arrow, that means it's a ranged monster, and it can be anywhere on the board, and it can attack the wall that's in the same row as it. If it has a sword symbol like this, it's a melee monster, and it needs to be directly adjacent to the wall in order to attack it. And then down below, you've got a movement icon, and that means that this enemy is going to move 1 space to the left during the movement phase of the monster phase. And then you've got some different health values down here. The first one with the full heart, that shows 1 health bar, and you need to fill both of these little slots up with your damage cubes down this way, which you'll inflict by casting your different spells. And if you fill up those spaces on that health track, you defeat that monster. They also have a secondary health track. It's a heart that's got it looks like a broken heart basically, and it'll have a particular set of requirements that you need in order to fill that bar up. And in this case, it's a water cube. You would have to use one of these blue water cubes, and then you can just kill this bat in 1 hit with 1 cube rather than 2, because he's weak to water. Gives me sort of like a Pokemon vibe, or like a rock, paper, scissors vibe, where the the red fire monsters are weak to water. And then you've got the green earth ones are weak to fire. Like if you check out this imp, you'd have to hit him 8 times in order to kill him, or you can hit him with 1 fire cube in order to take him down. And then the water monsters are weak to the earth element. So yeah, kind of just like Pokemon. It's like a rock, paper, scissors type thing. And then they'll also have some extra little icons on the cards that show different monster abilities that you can negate if you allocate one of your damage cubes to that space. So for instance, with the bat here, if you were to allocate a damage cube to this space, it would cancel out his ranged attack. So during the monster phase of that turn, he would not get to attack, and then you would remove that damage cube to put it back into your pool. There are other ones as well, like you could cancel out the melee attack of this imp here. Some of them you can cancel their movement. I don't know if there's any level 1s that you can cancel their movement. I think they're in the level 2s. We'll check that out real quick. Yeah, like for this one, for the Titan, you can cancel his movement, or you can cancel his attack. So yeah, there's different things that you can cancel for the monsters, and that's going to come into play strategically. You know, you'll be like, ooh, do I want him to get closer to the wall? Do I not want that guy to attack? You're really going to have to think how you want to allocate your damage cubes whenever you get to that point in the game. Cool. So that's all the stuff for the enemies. And then, of course, we've got our castle walls here. So we've got our 3 different castle wall cards, and there's actually a 4th castle wall, because when you play the future scenarios past the apprentice beginner scenario that we're playing here, you'll actually have a 4th wall. And I don't really have much space on the playmat here, but yeah, I would put this 4th wall here, and you'd have 4 rows. Of course, when we do future playthroughs, I'll zoom the camera back. I'll zoom the camera out so that we can see everything in the view of the camera. But for this one, we're not going to need to do that. We're just going to put this back here. So for this scenario, we'll have the 3 castle walls. And these start on their like healthy side. They're fully built up. And when they take a damage from a monster, they'll get flipped over to this side where it shows that they're kind of like broken up a little bit. I like how there's a little bird chilling up here on this one too. It's not on the other ones. There's only one that's got the little bird on it, as you can see here. All of these are empty. I like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so whenever these get flipped over, that's when they take a damage from an enemy. And if they take another damage, they get completely removed and they're broken down. And then enemies can end up moving into this space here. And then once they move past that space, past the wall, into your area or your player area over here, that's when you lose the game. So yeah, you want to keep your walls healthy and built up as much as possible, and try to make sure that you take down enemies before they reach the wall. It's just like a classic tower defense game, basically. Really, really cool. Okay, and then down this way, you've got your spell book. So these are your 3 different spells, and it's important to know too, since we're playing on the apprentice version of the game, we're going to actually flip these over to the side that has the little wizard hat. And essentially what that's doing is it's removing this little section of the card right here. We're not going to use that for this playthrough. We're just going to use the apprentice side of the cards. Everything else remains the same. And essentially what this does is it lets you replace any of your attack cubes with a cube of the color of that particular spell. It gets a little bit more tricky, so we're not gonna use that again for this playthrough, but you'll use that, I'm sure, to your advantage in later scenarios. So we'll flip all these over. So we're on the side with the little apprentice hat. And good stuff. Okay, so yeah, so we've got your fireball spell over here, and on the left side of the card, it's going to tell you the effect of the card, and on the right side, it's going to tell you the attack. And you can see it's the same on Water Whip. We've got the effect on the left, attack on the right, and for Rock Wall, effect on the left, attack on the right. And essentially what these are going to be used for is when you build out your little spell tableau over this way. And before we actually get into these and I explain how these work, let's go ahead and set up the board, and then I'll explain it as we actually go through the game. It's going to make way more sense when you can actually see it in action. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up the level 1 enemy cards first, and we're going to keep them face down so that the spell slot side is face up. And again, you know that they're level 1 because they'll have the little single white dot up in the top right corner. So we'll mix these up a little bit. There we go. And then we'll shuffle up the level 2 ones. And again, they'll have the 2 white dots up in the top corner. And I'm going to grab the rule book or the scenario book here, and we're going to read the little synopsis of the scenario. So let me grab that, and we'll go to the first one, Wizardry Training. It says, "Welcome to the Arcane Halls, apprentice. Before you can wield the full force of magic, you must master its fundamentals. This is a controlled environment, a space where mistakes won't be your undoing, yet. Learn the core spells, understand your limits, and prepare for what lies ahead. The special rules are that you start with all spell cards on the apprentice side up. And again, we've done that. We flipped them all to the apprentice side up. That's denoted by the little hat icon on there. And then the victory condition is that we need to kill 3 level 2 monsters. So we need to kill 3 of these level 2 monsters that have the 2 white dots. That is our win condition in order to beat this scenario. And the character that we have to play as is Fleur. So we've got her over here set up and ready to go. And then the spells that we get are Fireball, Rock Wall, and Water Whip, and we've got those set up. We've got our Fireball, our Rock Wall, and our Water Whip right here. And then we've got the round setup. So we're going to put the leg token on number 2. So as you can see up here, I've taken this little leg token, and we're going to set it on the second slot, and I'll explain how that works in a minute. And then we're going to put the bite token on number 3. So we've got the bite token right here, and that is going to go on number 3. And then last but not least, we're going to put this skull token here on number 6. Now, if you reach the skull token, you lose. So we've got 5 rounds, essentially, to complete our mission here. And then it tells you how to set up the monster rows. This is the monster row placement. So the first, second, and third column are all going to get a level 1 monster. And then the fourth column is going to get a level 1, a level 2, and a level 1. And then the fifth is going to get a level 2, a level 1, and a level 2. And then the final 6th column is going to be all level 2 monsters. So let's go ahead and get that set up. So we're going to take our level 1 monsters, and we're going to set them face down here, like so. And we're going to make columns going down of 3 monsters each. It's very satisfying, by the way. Like, I don't know, it's something so satisfying about the symmetry of it. So then we're going to put a level 1 monster here. That's going to be a level 2. This will be a level 1. That's going to be a 2. This will be a 1. That'll be a 2. And then the rest will be level 2s over here in the 6th column. So we'll get these set up here. Like so. And of course, you shuffle them up every time. So you're going to get different monster placements. It's going to make it feel completely different each time you play. There we go. Okay, and then the rest of the level 2 monsters you can set off to the side in the box. I'll set them up this way. And then the level 1 monsters, you're actually going to mix these up, and you're going to get a random one to be your starting spell. So we'll take this one. That'll be our starting spell, and I'll put the others off to the side. Cool. One other thing to look at too with our character card here is we've got a number of dice icons over here. That's going to show you how many dice you can roll during your turn, in addition to the number of dice that are on any of your active spell slots as well. So currently, we'd be able to roll 1, 2, 3 dice during our turn. Also, on the right side of the card is going to show your character's cantrip spell. So in order to use this spell, you would need to spend this number of crystals, so 1 crystal, and again, these are your crystals over here. You start the game with 0, and I'll show you how to acquire those during the player round, during the player phase. And if you spend 1 crystal as Fleur, you get her ability Cat's Luck, which says you can add or subtract 1 to any active die, and you can transform a 6 into a 1 or vice versa. So you could turn a 6 into a 1 or a 1 into a 6. And yeah, so you can mitigate any die roll plus or minus 1 by spending 1 crystal. Cool. Okay, so that's all the information that we really need to know about our character card. And now it's important to mention that the way that your spell section works right here, it's really, really clever. I think it is so cool. You essentially have a 3x3 grid for your spell slots over here. And the way it's going to work, just for instance, here, I'll grab a couple of the extra cards that we're not using. You'll end up being able to place your cards down like this, and you'll build out like a grid. And you can only ever have these 3 squares going in each direction, like so. So you're basically making like a 3x3 grid like this, and that's going to be your entire spell space over here. Let's move these dice up here so we have a little bit more room. There we go. Actually works out perfectly. Yeah, so you're always only ever going to have a 3x3 grid. You can't have it like this to where you've got like 4 going this way. You have to stay within the confines of that 3x3. So it's really going to be kind of like a a puzzle as you're playing through the game, trying to link your spells together, and you can make all kinds of spell combos and stuff, and I'm going to teach you how that works as we play through the game. That's really like the core mechanic of the game, are these spell slot cards over here used in your spell area. Okay, so we're going to go through the round overview first. So first is always going to be the player phase, followed by the monster phase, and then the cleanup phase. So only 3 phases, pretty simple. And for the player phase, there are 5 different things you can do during the player phase. You can do crystallize, which means that you generate crystals, and that's kept track of over here with your D10 on your crystallized card. And the way that you do that is once you roll dice, any dice that you want to crystallize, you can remove them from play temporarily until the next round. And so you can see here, if you spend 1 die, you'll gain 1 crystal, in which case you would take your dice here and you would set it to, 1 in this case, since we have 0. Or as you defeat enemies, you'll end up getting them in your hand as spell slot cards that you can either play on to your spell tableau here, or you can discard them from your hand as shown here to gain 2 crystals. So you can crystallize your dice for 1, or you can discard spell slot cards from your hand to crystallize them for 2 crystals. And again, you'll keep track on your D10 over this way, and you can have up to a maximum of 10. And those are used once again to spend to activate your cantrip for your character. Cool. So you can crystallize. It's also worth noting too, you can do all of these actions in any order as many times as you want, except for rolling dice. Rolling dice is the only one that you can only do once per turn. And again, you roll dice equal to the number of dice shown on your character card, plus the number of die icons that are visible on any of your spells that you have on your spell tableau. Everything else you could do as many times as you want and in any order that you want, which is really, really, really cool. So then you've got cast a cantrip and use your crystals. So of course you would spend your crystals and you can use your cantrip. You can do that as many times as you want in any order. And then you've got prepare a spell slot and place a card. So when you prepare a spell slot, you would essentially just take one of the cards from your hand and then you can lay it down into your spell area here. So that's just placing a card onto your spell zone. And that is called preparing a spell. Then of course you got roll dice, and again you can only do that once per turn. And then you've got cast a spell chain, which is when you're going to place your rolled dice onto your spell slots that are on the board, and that'll activate those spells, and it'll activate these spell cards in your spell book right here, and they'll do different damages and different effects and stuff like that, which you'll see soon enough. So those are the 5 things. You can crystallize to gain crystals by discarding a card from your hand or a dice from play. You can cast a cantrip, which is your special ability here on your character card. You can prepare a spell slot by placing a card down from your hand. You can roll dice, and you can cast your spell chains and activate your spell chains by placing your rolled dice onto those spell cards. Then during the monster phase, you're going to activate monsters starting from the top left and working over, and then go down and work over from left to right. And they will essentially have 2 actions. They'll attack and then they'll move. That's all the monsters are going to do. They're going to attack, and if they have a melee attack and they're adjacent to the wall, they'll attack the wall, in which case you'll flip the wall to its other side. Or if it's already on its damaged side, you'll remove the wall. If they're ranged monsters, they'll attack the wall that's in the same row as them, even if they're far away from it. Even if they're back here, they can attack it. And then they will move forward toward the wall one space each on the board here for each little leg icon that they have on their card. And then lastly, there's going to be the cleanup phase where you're going to recover your dice. You're going to take all your dice back that you spent on your spells that you allocated to trigger your spell chains. And then you're going to move the round tracker up this way, which is kept track of with this little meeple. You would move that over, and if it moves onto any of these little tokens here, these tokens will get moved down to this monster activation area, and it'll give the monsters special abilities for the rest of the battle. And once you get all the way through all 5 rounds in this scenario and you make it to the end, if you get to the 6th round, you would lose the game, because once you get to that skull icon, that skull token, you have lost the scenario. So let's get into it, and you'll see how this makes more sense as we actually play through the game. That's the overview of the round. First thing is first, we need to flip over all the monsters in the first 3 columns of the board here. So we're going to flip over all of these monsters and reveal for the first time what we're up against. Wow, there's a lot of bats right there already. There's a couple of bats. Up to no good, making trouble in the neighborhood. They've got ranged attacks. So this guy is going to be able to attack us, even though he's not up against the wall, adjacent to the wall. Ooh, another bat, really far away, but he can still attack. And then we'll flip over these last two. A lot of water enemies, a lot of water monsters down in this last row right here. Cool. Okay, so this is what we're up against. All of these are going to hang out back here, and if they ever move into these first three columns here, they'll get flipped over and revealed, and then we'll have to deal with them. But for now, we've just got a big group of level 1 enemies to deal with here. Okay, so first thing is first. Typically, not always, but typically you're going to want to roll your dice first, especially on the first turn, because we've got no cards in our hand to play. There's nothing else to do. So we're going to go ahead and roll our dice here and see what we get. Okay, we've got a 2, a 3, and a 6. Okay, so we know that for our fireball spell here, we have to play up to a maximum of 3. So I'm going to play a 2 on it, and we're going to get to fireball. So you've got these arrows here. These arrows are going to show you the direction that this spell chain goes in. So since we're triggering the spell chain from this bottom portion of the card where we're placing the die, you can see the arrows go upward into this spell right here, which is fireball. So the fireball spell is going to trigger, and we're going to get the effect of it, and we're going to get the attack value of the fireball spell, and we need to target one of these enemies on the board. So we could see that this slime guy right here, he is weak to fire because he's an earth type enemy. We would need 1 damage of any type and then 1 red cube fire damage in order to defeat him if we go for his second health bar right here. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because check this out. When we activate fireball, we get its effect. It gets +1 damage to a targeted monster. We're targeting the slime. It gets +1 damage to a targeted monster for every die in the spell chain, and the damage's color has to match the attack color. So we've got 1 die in the spell chain, so it's going to get +1 damage, and it's going to match the attack color, which is red. So we're going to get +1 red damage, and the attack damage is 1. We get to do 1 red cube. So we're getting 1 red cube +1 from the effect. So we're going to do 2 red cubes of damage, and then it shows you what you can target, any one space. So we get to target one space anywhere on the board, and we're going to target this slime right here. So we're going to do 2 damage to him, and we use the red damage cubes. So we're going to put 1, 2, and we have defeated the slime. So now we're going to take these 2 damage cubes back, and they'll go back to our damage pool over here. And now we get to pick the slime up, flip it over, and we get this as a spell slot card in our hand. Now, we've got a couple options here. If we wanted to, we could discard this card from our hand to crystallize it in order to gain 2 crystals, or we can place it down onto our spell board here as a spell. So I want to place it down on the board as a spell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it down, and you've got to follow a couple of rules here. So since this die is already placed, we cannot place this card down on top of the dice. We can't place that any kind of way as long as that dice is there. You also cannot slide it underneath cards that are already played. It's got to be placed on top of the card. And you want to try to the best of your ability to place the cards in such a way that they fit as snugly and as evenly as possible with one another. You don't want any of the arrows from other effects poking out or anything like that. You want to make sure that you place them flush, so that way you can keep track of what's going on here. So we've got a couple different options. We could place this pretty much anywhere we want as long as it goes within that 3x3 grid. Like if we placed it here, we're no longer going to be getting that fireball spell. But if we put a die here, then we would have 2 dice in our chain, which is going to activate the effect of the rock wall twice, since it says gain 1 crystal for every die in the spell chain. So we would end up gaining 2 crystals instead of 1. And you can see as you build up your spells and you chain different spells together, you can create all kinds of different combinations of spells. And of course, you're always going to follow the arrows on the card until it reaches its final destination and there are no more arrows. And that is the spell that's going to trigger. Just for instance, again, you cannot place these underneath cards that are already played, but just for the sake of this example, in this case, if we were to place a die here, it would go up this way, and then it would go over this way. We would get the effect of the fireball, so we would get the effect portion of the card, but not the damage. and then it would go over this way since the arrows here are pointing this way, and it would go over to the rock wall spell. We would also get the effect of the rock wall, and then we would get the attack damage. So the last spell in the chain is the one that's actually going to inflict the damage, but you'll still get the effect of all the ones that came before it and including the last one. So that's an important thing to keep in mind too. So you can augment spells that way too. Like if we did have it like this, for instance, and we played this, we would get +1 damage to a targeted monster. And again, it's going to do damage equal to the color of the attack color. So we'd get the +1 damage, then it would go to the rock wall. We would gain a crystal for every die in the spell chain, so 1, so we'd get to gain a crystal. And then we would get to do damage to 3 spaces in a column. So we could pick any column and hit all 3 monsters in that column, and one of them is going to get +1 damage to it because we got the fireball effect over this way. So it's really, really cool, man. You can make some really crazy strong spell effects and combos. Okay, so I want to place this card down. I don't want to spend it to crystallize. I don't want to actually use this. So I think I'm actually just going to place this. And again, I will say this, even though I know how to play the game and I'm teaching you guys how to play the game, I am by no means an expert at the game. I'm still a novice and I'm still learning the game and trying to get the hang of it and learning all the little tips and tricks. So some of you guys might be sitting back going, you know, like some of you that have play tested the game, like Diego, I'm sure you're watching this. You're probably like, ooh, what are you doing, Game Night? Because I'm sure you're pretty good at it by this point from play testing it. But again, I'm not an expert at the game. I'm just kind of trying to teach you guys how to play. So yeah, don't expect too much. And there's a hair right here. We're going to get it out the way. There we go. All right. So I'm going to place this here. And I am going to, we've got a 3 and a 6 left over here. I think I want to take down this. All 3 of these are weak to earth. Yeah. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Check this out. This is what we're going to do. We need to play an even. So we're going to play a 6 here. That's going to go up. It's going to trigger rock wall. So we're going to gain, with our effect, we're going to gain 1 crystal for every die in the spell chain. So there's 1 die in the spell chain, so we're going to gain 1 crystal. So this is going to go up to 1, like so. Okay, and then we're going to deal its attack damage since it's the last spell in that particular chain. As you can see, there's no arrows going to the left, or it's not going to go over to the fireball. It goes up with these arrows, and then it stops here at the rock wall spell. So now we're going to deal 1 green damage to 3 spaces in a column. So I'm going to pick this middle column here, and we're going to deal 1 damage to each of those spaces. So I'm going to put 1 here on the bat, on its second health bar right there, because it only requires 1 green in order to kill it. We're going to put 1 on the second health bar of the wolf. We need 2 greens. And then we're going to put 1 on this green slot on the slime right here, since it needs 2 in order to kill it. Cool. And I'll say this too, full disclosure, like I said, I pretty much know how to play the game at this point. I'm not 100% on every little rule, on all the little rule discrepancies. So if Eduardo is watching, if Diego, if you happen to be watching, or Gabe, if you happen to be watching this video, be sure to let us know if I make any mistakes. Post those in the comments. That'll help people out a lot. I am not 100% sure if I have to put this cube here on this first slot or if I'm allowed to put it here. I believe I'm allowed to put it there, but again, if that's a mistake, be sure to let us know down in the comments, and I'll correct that moving forward. But for now, I think you can place those wherever you want on their health bar. So I'm going to place that there on that green one. There we go. And now I have done my damage with the attack. So now we're going to remove any monsters that were defeated. And the bat was defeated. So we're going to get this green cube back. And we'll get this card in our hand. And we can continue on. And remember, during the player phase, you can do all of those actions as many times as you want. Except for rolling dice, you only get to do it once. So when you kill enemies and get cards in your hand, you can just keep playing them. You can keep preparing spell slots by placing them down and then using your dice to trigger spell chains. It's really, really cool. Ingenious little mechanic right here, man. Like very, very cool stuff, Eduardo. So I'm jealous. This is so smart. This is so, so cool. So I'm going to, and I mean that from like a game designer perspective. Like I'm super stoked for you, dude. This is really cool. This is such a clever little mechanic right here. As soon as I started playing the first time, I was like, dude, this is so smart. This is so cool. Really, really good stuff. So now we've got a blue spell. We would need an odd number in order to trigger it, and wouldn't you know it, we've got an odd number with this 3 right here. This would trigger our blue spell, Water Whip, which is perfect. We're getting to see all of the spells here. With Water Whip, the effect would be that you add 1 space to the attack for every die in the spell chain, and it must be adjacent to any other targeted space. It can be above, below, to the left, or to the right. You might be like, what the hell does that mean? Well, that's going to make more sense when you see the attack. We would get to put a blue water damage cube on 3 spaces in a row. So the targets for this spell, Water Whip, it goes in a row, whereas Rock Wall, you get to go in a column. Water Whip will go in one of the rows, and it'll go 3 spaces consecutively in a row. With its effect, you can add 1 space to the attack for every die in the spell chain. So in this case, if we only had 1 die in the spell, we could, let's say that we picked this row right here. We would put a blue cube on each of these cards, and then we could put one here if we wanted to, because it's adjacent to one of the spaces. We could put one here because it's adjacent to this space, or we could put one here since it's adjacent to this space. We could even put one over here if we wanted to, but if we wouldn't want to because they're face down. So I guess technically you can't do that, but you'd put one, you know, adjacent to one of the targeted spaces. Or if we went in this middle row and we had a blue cube, here, let's do it visually so you can see, just as an example. If we had a blue cube on each of these as damage, then if we wanted to, we could put one here since it's adjacent to that one. We could put one there. We could put one on literally any one of these spaces since it's adjacent to those 3 spaces right there. So even just looking at that, Water Whip is actually super powerful if you go straight down the middle. Of course, it's going to depend on what enemies are there, but it gives you the most options where you can put the damage adjacent. And again, if you have multiple dice that are in the spell chain, you can hit multiple adjacent enemies, which is cool. And I love how thematic that is too. I can just imagine like this whip of water coming through here, but then like whipping off to the side and hitting other enemies. Really, really cool. Okay, so where do we want to put this card? That is the question. I think, you know what? I think I'm just going to lie it right down next to this one. I think we're going to go with that. Again, like I said, I'm by no means an expert at this yet, so I'm still picking up on this. I'm not sure what the most optimal plays are yet. We'll learn as we go. So we need an odd number die. So we're going to put that 3 right there since it's an odd number. And then we follow the arrows up to the end of the chain, and we're going to activate Water Whip. I'm going to use the Water Whip. Where do I want to use the Water Whip? I think I want to use it in this second row. So we're going to get the effect where we can add 1 space to the attack for every die in the spell chain. We've got 1 die in the spell chain. We get to target 3 spaces. So we got our 3 dice and our 3 cubes, and we're going to grab a 4th one for the effect here. And we're going to go in a row. I'm going to place that there just for visuals. So there's no one there. We're going to place this one here on the cancel movement for the wolf. And then we're going to place this one on the 1 blue spot on the 2nd health bar for the bat. And then we can make this one go adjacent to another enemy, adjacent to one of these 3 spaces. And I'm going to make the whip go up this way and hit the lizard and put it on his 1 space right there. Cool. So we're done activating the attack. Then we're going to see if any enemies died. We killed the lizard, so we'll get this blue cube back. We'll get the lizard in our hand as a spell slot. We killed the bat, so we'll get our cube back and get the bat in our hand as a spell slot. And we'll get this cube back since there was no enemy in that spot, no monster in that spot. And this cube will remain. And during the monster phase, when the wolf goes to move, since we put it on the cancel movement, rather than moving, he'll stay put. And then we'll discard this cube off of him back to our little item area down here with our damage cubes. Cool. So we've got 2 more fireball spells here, which is great. But we're out of dice. We've used up all 3 of our dice. So now we can either hang on to these if we want for next turn, or if we wanted to, we could discard these from our hand in order to crystallize them to gain crystals. Also, say last turn or during this round, say that we didn't want to put this down and we didn't want to use this dice. We could have discarded this dice from play and gotten 1 crystal by crystallizing it. So again, the dice, if you discard them, rolled dice, they'll turn into 1 crystal. If you discard spells from your hand, they'll turn into 2 crystals. Okay, I think I'm actually going to hang on to these. I want to probably use these for next turn. So I'm going to keep these right here. These will be in my hand. Okay, nice. So now I am done with the player phase. So now we're going to move into the monster phase, and we're going to activate the monster. So you're always going to start in the top row and go from left to right. So the bat is going to attack. He's got a ranged attack, so he's going to attack the wall if he's anywhere in the same row. So he happens to be right next to the wall, so he's going to attack either way. So again, even if he was here or here, he would still be able to attack that wall. So now we're going to flip the wall over. We've taken 1 damage on the wall. Cool. There's no other monsters in the row, so now we're going to move down to the second row. We're going to go over. We've got the wolf here. The wolf is going to attack, but he's not next to the wall, so he's going to deal no damage. Then we're going to go down here. We've got the lizard. He's got a melee attack, and he is adjacent to the wall, so he's going to attack and deal 1 damage to the wall. And then, of course, these 2 guys are both melee, and they're not adjacent to the wall, so they're not going to inflict any damage to it. Then we're going to move the monsters. So the bat is as far over as he can go, so then we're going to move the other monsters behind them, and they're each going to move 1 space. So this monster is going to move over, and now that he's within the first 3 columns, it's going to get flipped over and revealed. And we've got another imp. These face-down monsters will also move 1. But since they're in the back 3 columns, they're not in the first 3 columns, they're going to remain face down. Then we'll go down to the second row. The wolf is going to try to move, but he can't because we've canceled his movement with this die, right, or this cube right here on his cancel movement slot. So instead of moving, he stays put, and we get that cube back. The monster behind him is going to move over. It's moved into the first 3 columns, so it's going to flip over and reveal. And we've got our first level 2 monster in the form of a fire dragon. And then these next 2, face down, are going to move over. As you can see, this is the tower defense sort of aspect of the game where the monsters are slowly moving toward your tower or your castle here in order to invade. And then down on this row, there are no slots for them to move, so they're just going to stay put. And of course, they can't move because the wall is still blocking them. Cool. Okay, that's it for the monster phase. Then we're going to move into the cleanup phase where we're going to recover dice. So all of the dice that we've allocated onto these spell slots over here, we're going to get those back, and they'll go back into our dice pool. And you've got these 10 dice here. And then we're going to move into the move round tracker portion of the cleanup phase where you're going to take your little white meeple token here and you're going to move it over to the next slot on the round tracker. Now, in this case, we're moving on top of this token on the second slot, and it's got a movement icon on it. So we're going to find that icon down here in the monster activation section of the card, and we're going to put that right here. And what that does is every time a monster has a movement icon, they're going to move an extra space on the board. So now all the monsters are going to move 2 spaces whenever they move from now until the end of the game. You'll notice too, we've got this little token right here. It's got like fangs on it, like teeth. That is the bite skill. If we move on to that at the end of this round, it'll get placed down here. And what that means is usually monsters will attack and then move. But when they have the bite skill, they'll attack, they'll move, and then they'll attack again a second time. And then, of course, if we make it all the way to the end here, like I mentioned earlier a couple times to that skull, we'll lose the game. And then there's a couple other little icons on here, a melee attack, a ranged attack, and this little star icon. And you'll learn about those as you move into future scenarios, but we're not going to need those for this, this first tutorial apprentice scenario. Okay. Cool. So that is the end of an entire round, and then the game loops back around and we go back to the player phase. So that is essentially it, guys. You now know how to play Dicemancy, and we're going to continue on with the playthrough and see how far we can get. So let's see what we want to do here. We've got a couple cards in our hand, and we've got some dice that we can roll. So check this out. We've got our 2 dice on our character card, and now we've got 3 more dice down here on these cards. And I think that's another reason why when I've been playing, I like just playing these next to one another, so that way I get more dice to roll early on, and then we'll start overlaying them and chaining spells together. So we're going to get 5 dice, and we can roll all 5 of our dice. Okay, we got 3 2s. Put these over here, and we got a 5 and a 6. Okay, I'll slide these up so they don't get mixed in with our other dice. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So we need odd, a maximum of 3, and an even. We've got an even, we got a maximum of 3, and we've got an odd right there with those. Remember too, we can use our cantrip by spending 1 of our crystals to add +1 or -1 to one of these dice, and you can change 6s into 1s and 1s into 6s with our Cat's Luck cantrip with Fleur. And we've got a couple of fireball spells in our hand too. Now let's see what we want to focus fire here. The goal of the game of this scenario is to kill 3 level 2 enemies. So we know that we're going to probably want to kill this dragon since it's a level 2 enemy. I'm going to want to water whip him most likely. This is the part where you really got to think. This is the type of game too where I can see that this is going to be maybe difficult for me personally to do well in, because I found when I was playing the game, lots of times you do want to kind of just sit back in silence and think and really look at everything and think. And I like to keep my videos snappy and going. I don't like there to be a bunch of dead air. So yeah, we're just going to go for it though. I'm going to try to do my best here though. We've got a lot of water enemies out, which means that we need to deal green damage. And ooh, if we kill these water guys, that'll give us water damage to deal to the dragon. So maybe we start targeting down some of these guys. That could be good. Ooh, that could be really good. Okay, I think what I want to do... Let's see, do I want to buff that up any kind of way? Ooh. Ooh. I don't have a good way to do it. I need another green spell. What I could do is, I'm going to do this. Let's move our cubes over a little bit. I'm going to play this here. So we've got a spell chain here. Ooh, I could even play this here. See, this is where it gets fun, guys. I could play this here. Do I even need to do that? I'd be doing a lot of damage. I'm going to try this. We're going to try this and see if it works. So I'm going to lay these like this, and we need a maximum of 3. So we're going to put this 2 right here. We could do a 1, 2, or a 3. So it's going to trigger this spell chain. It's going to go here to the red, and then it's going to go up to this fire spell, and then it's going to land here at the end on the rock wall. So we're going to get the effect of these first 2 fireball spells, and then we're going to get the damage and the effect of the rock wall. So this is pretty cool too, the way that Eduardo laid out the names of the cards. You can actually, if you wanted to, just for fun, you could lay them on top of one another. So we're doing a fire rock wall. So you can see that we're going to get the effect of the fire, the effect of the rock wall, and then the attack of the rock wall as well. So we're going to do a fire rock wall spell. We're going to get +1 damage to a targeted monster for every die in the spell chain. So we're going to get +1. We're going to activate it again. So we're going to get +1 again. So we're getting +2 damage now to a targeted monster. And then at the end, we've got the rock wall. We're going to gain 1 crystal for every die in the spell chain with the effect. So we've got 1 die. So we're going to gain a crystal and go up to 2. And then we're going to deal damage with our attack with the rock wall, 3 spaces in a column. So I think I want to go after, let's go after, and we've only got 3 here. So we got to keep that in mind too. I think I'm going to go after this middle column. Yeah. Oh, so you know what, actually? This wouldn't even matter in this scenario. I'm going to keep it like this anyway because I already did it. And again, this is what I'm talking about. You really need to sit back and think about this stuff before you do it. Since we've only got the 3 green cubes, we're not going to get any extra damage from these fireballs here because you can't take cubes from your other damage cubes. You can only use the color of the spell that's at the end. Because again, with the effect of the fireball, it says that the damage's color has to match the attack color, which is green. So it's okay. It's okay. I think I'm still going to go with it anyway, or should I take it back? Am I shooting myself in the foot here? Maybe. I might be. Is that a waste? Because I think I'm going to go here. I'm going to put one here. It's going to kill the wolf. I'm going to put one here. It's going to kill the slime. And then we'll get them all back. But then that's going to kind of like lock up these 2 spells here. So you know what? I think I'm going to take that back. Now that I've looked at it, hopefully you guys are okay with that. I'm going to take it back now that I've looked at it. We don't really need to do that. I'm going to hang on to these. I'm going to play this 2 here. But hey, it was a good example to show you how you can chain spells together at least. So it wasn't totally useless. We need an even die. So I'm going to place that there. So we're just going to do a rock wall, just a straight up rock wall attack here. So we're going to do 3 damage in a column. We already gained the 1 crystal. And I'm going to go down here in this column. We're going to do our 2nd damage to the wolf and our 2nd damage to the slime. And that's it. So we get to take this cube back. We kill the wolf. We get him in our hand. And we killed the slime and we get him in our hand as well. Nice. Okay. Now we got some water spells. We got some water whips that we can use here. I really want to take down this dragon. We need to go in a line with that. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Yeah, see, it starts getting kind of tricky. I think I want to put this. I think I want to put it here. And then I want to put this here. Yeah, let's do that. So now we need an odd die. So we're going to use the 5 and place it here. So now we're going to trigger the effect of Water Whip. So we're going to add 1 space to the attack for every die in the spell chain, which is 1. We're going to add another die. And then we're going to get to the end. We're going to add another one. And we're going to deal 3 spaces in a row. So we're going to get to use all 5 of our cubes here. And we're going to deal damage 3 spaces in a row and then 2 extra spaces that are adjacent to it. So I think I want to go 1. Ooh, how do we want to do this, guys? We could go 1, 2, 3, and then I can go adjacent to it. I'm going to put 1 here on the bat. And I think I want to put 1 on... Ooh, where do I want to put this one? I'll put it here on the lizard, I suppose. Okay, cool. So then we're going to get these 2 back. Again, this is probably not the most optimal play, but this is what I'm going with. And then we're going to do... We got a couple red fireball spells in our hand, too. We could also activate this fireball. We need a maximum of 3 in order to do so. You know what, actually? I'm going to put this blue from the dragon. I'm going to put it on this blue here instead of down here, because I've got an idea. I'm going to take this spell, and I'm going to face it this way. Ooh, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to face it this way. Am I going to face it that way? Or am I going to go like Yeah, I'm going to go like this. Okay, and then we need a maximum of 3, so I'm going to put this 2 right here. We're going to go this way and activate... again, this card's in my hand. We're going to activate the effect of Fireball, so we're going to add +1 damage to a targeted monster. I'm targeting the dragon, by the way, for every die in the spell chain. So 1, so we're doing +1. And then the arrows go up, so we're going to do +2 from the second effect of this Fireball. And we do a 3rd damage from the attack. So we get to do 3 red damage to any 1 space. And I'm going to attack the dragon. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And we've taken out the dragon's top health bar. And we take down the dragon. Let's go, guys. So we get all of these cubes back, and we get the dragon in our hand, and we've defeated our first level 2 monster. So we need 2 more to go in order to beat the scenario. So we got another fireball. Dude, we got so many fireballs, and we still got a couple of dice over here that we can use. This we need a maximum of 4, and that we need a maximum of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I want to play another fireball here and probably go after this lizard. So I'm going to place this, and again, you cannot place these on top of dice. So this slot down here is locked out because there's no, right now anyway, for this round, there's no way that I can place that because these 2 dice are in the way. So again, it's like a little puzzle. It's really, really cool. I'm going to place it here, like this. And I'm going to put this 2 on it because we need it needs a maximum of 4. It can't go above 4. And we're going to do Fireball, and I'm going to target the lizard. So we've got 1 die in the spell chain. So with the effect, we're getting +1 damage. And then 1 red damage is 2 damage to any 1 space. So we're going to go 1, 2. That kills the lizard. We get our blue cube back, which is good. It frees that up. And we get the lizard flipped over into a spell slot into our hand. And then last but not least, I think I want to go after this bat right here. So I'm going to play this like so, and we need a maximum of 3, so it's got to be 3 or less. So I'm going to use my Cat's Luck cantrip, and I'm going to spend 1 crystal and go from 2 down to 1. And we can give plus or minus 1 to a die roll, and we can change 1s into 6s and 6s into 1. So I'm going to change this 6 into a 1, place it here. It's got a max of 3 requirement, so we're good. And we've got 2 dice in our spell chain now. So even though we're placing this die here and it's ahead of this one, this die is still considered in the chain because it's got the arrows pointing up through this way and it's chaining all the way through. So we get +1 damage to a targeted monster for every die in the spell chain. So we're doing +2 plus our 1 here to any 1 space, and I'm going to target the bat. So we're doing 3 damage to him, but we really only need 1, and we could put it in either space, either up here in this blank or down here on this red slot, and that is going to kill the bat. And then we get the bat card in our hand over here like this. And we got another green rock wall spell. Cool. So we're completely out of dice. if we wanted to, we could discard some cards from our hand, some spell slots from our hand, in order to crystallize them to gain crystals, but I think I'm okay. I'm just going to hang on to those. And now we're going to move into the monster phase. So we're going to activate the monsters. So starting in the top row, from left to right, we've got the imp. He's going to attack, but he does a melee attack, and he is not adjacent to the wall, so he does nothing. We move down to the second row. There's no one there. We move down to the third row. From left to right, we got another imp, and he's going to do a melee attack, but he's not adjacent to the wall, so he deals no damage. Now we move into monster movement. So the imp is going to move over one space, and then the monsters behind him are going to move over. We've got a face-down monster in one of the first 3 columns, so it flips over, and we've got a griffin, another level 2 monster. Then we're going to move these over in the second row. This one flips since it enters the first 3 columns. We got a lizard, level 1 monster. And then we've got the imp is going to move 1. The card behind him is going to move 1. It flips over. We've got a level 1 wolf that enters the first 3 columns. And then the last 2 enemies will move over like so and remain face down because they're not in the first 3 columns. Cool. So now we're going to move into the cleanup phase where we remove all dice. So we're going to take back all of these dice and put them back over this way. And then we are going, the movement icon is out. I'm glad I remembered this. So all the enemies actually move an extra time whenever they move. So they're all going to move twice. So this guy would have moved an extra time. He would move an extra time. That means that this guy behind him would move an extra time and flip face up. It's another griffin. The lizard would move an extra time. This guy would move over and flip over in the first 3 columns. It is a titan. Those guys are nasty. And then all of these would also move 1 extra time. And then this guy's going to flip. It's a green dragon. And then we've got 1 enemy that's left over here outside the first 3 columns. Okay, cool. Glad I remembered that. So now last thing we do in the cleanup phase is we're going to move our little round tracker here. And it's going to move over onto this slot. And it's going to activate the bite ability. And so we're going to put that down here on the bite slot on the monster activation area. And again, that's going to let them attack a second time after movement, the monsters. So they're going to attack, then move, and then attack again, as long as they've got bite. And it's worth noting too that the bite action is a melee attack. So if a ranged enemy, like the dragon or like the bat, goes to attack with their bite ability, they'll have to be adjacent to the wall in order to deal damage. So with their first attack of ranged, they can hit the wall that's in their row. Then they'll move if they're able to, and then they'll attack again. But again, they would have to be adjacent to the wall in order to do bite. It's a melee attack. They won't get a second ranged attack. Okay, cool. We're going back around to the player phase. We're in round 3. We've got 3 rounds essentially to win the game. We've got all of round 3, round 4, and round 5 before we reach the skull at the end. So let's see what we want to do here. We're going to want to roll dice first of all. So we've got our 2 here, and then we get 2 more with this card. That is insane. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dude, we get to roll 8 dice. That is insane. I've never rolled that many dice before in this game. That is cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll, see what we get. And if we wanted to, we could also place cards from our hand down first before we roll, but I'm okay. I want to kind of keep things flowing here. If I was playing alone, I'd probably sit back and think about it a little bit more. And you know what? This is actually working well as a dice area. So let's just keep these over here. We got 4s for days. We got a 3, a 1, and a 6. Okay, we need odd, even, max of 3, and max of 4. Who do we want to target here, first of all? We need to take down level 2 monsters in order to win the game, and there are several of them out on the board. So far, from what I've seen, Titans are really, really difficult to beat because they don't have a second health bar. You just have to deal 8 damage to them, and they keep a lot of your damage cubes locked up on them, so I feel like you don't really want to go for them if you can avoid it. You kind of want to go after the other ones, the dragons and the griffins. This dragon, we need 3 fire in order to kill it, and guys, I think we can just kill it right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a 3 here since we need a maximum of 3. And we're going to do, how do we want to do this? Do I want to trigger it all at once? Yeah, we'll just trigger it all at once. We also need a max of 4. So we're going to put a 4 as well. And this is going to trigger this spell chain here. So we're going to get 2 dice in the spell chain for the fireball. So it's going to get +1 damage for this die and +1 damage for that die. So +2 plus its third damage is 3 damage. And we can hit any one space. So we're going to do 3 fire damage. And we're going to target this dragon down here and put these in his second health bar. And again, we need 3 fire red cubes in order to beat him. just like that, and we one-shotted the dragon with the fireball, and he is dead. Fireball is insane. So powerful. So we took down our second level 2 monster. We'll add him to our hand along with our others. We'll put these over here so we can see what we got in our hand better. There we go. Okay, cool. And now we need to take down one more level 2 enemy in order to beat the game, and I've got my eyes set on these griffins up here. I think I kind of want to... Who do we want to go after? Who do we want to go after? Who can we defeat here? We've got green and blues. We could do... Ooh. We could do this. Would this work? That's not going to help as much. You know what we could do, guys? Oh, no, that's not going to work either. Hold the phone. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get it. What I might do? Oh, man. Ooh, what I might do is go like this. Yeah. Also, it's worth noting, too, this scenario has not come up yet, but you can, like, say we had, I'm just going to set these down like this just for now so that I can show you guys, but then I'm going to remove them. Say we had a situation like this. If you were to put a die right here, like even, if you were to put a die right there, since you've got arrows pointing that way and this way, it would trigger this spell as its own spell chain, and then it would trigger this way and trigger a second spell chain. So you can trigger multiple spell chains off of one die, which is really, really cool. So I wanted to mention that before I get to the end of the video and forgot to say something about it just because it hasn't come up yet. I think I want to place this, though. I think I want to place it like this. And we're going to create this spell chain here that's going to go from here over to here, then up, and then over to the fireball. I think that's what I want to do. Ooh, do we want a fireball? No, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? I need another fireball to do what I'm trying to do. I want to add more damage to it, but I'm not going to be able to do that. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. What do we do? What do we do? I don't want to botch this up, so let's see. I want to attack one of these two griffins. I think I want to deal... Ooh, it would be nice to kill him, though, too. I think I want to deal water damage. Do I want to do water damage? This is tough, guys. I'm in a pickle now. I feel like I'm so close to winning. If I put this here, that'll allow me to do an extra space with the water whip. Let's do that. We need an odd die, so I'm going to put the 1 here. So it's going to trigger the effect of Water Whip. We're going to get to add 1 space to the attack for every die in the spell chain, so 1. And then we're going to activate it again, so we'll get the effect again and the attack of 3 spaces in a row. So we're going to get to use all 5 of the cubes. Okay, so what row do I want to go in? I think I want to go... Ooh, this is tough. This is actually pretty tough. Do I want to do this? No. Okay, hold on. I think I've got a different idea. That's what's so cool about this game, man. There's so many different possibilities. I think I want to go like this. And then put the odd here. Yeah, and then I'm going to trigger it once. I'm going to go down the... Do I want to go down the middle row? Oh, man, this is so tricky. No, I'm going to go with my original. Guys. Suddenly, I'm not feeling as confident. We're going to go with this. I think I want to go down the middle row, though. So we're going to go down the middle like this. I'm going to put 1 here. I am losing blue dice or blue cubes by doing this. I'm going to put 1 here so that he doesn't move. And then I can whip to an adjacent space. I'm going to put 1 here on... Nope, we only need to go after 1. I'm going to put 1 here on him. I think like this. And then I'm going to put the other one down here on the wolf like this. I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to get this blue back. This is getting tricky, guys. This is getting tricky. We still got a couple cards in our hand. We still got dice to use over here. Then I want a fireball. I need an even number, so let's play this. Ooh. Do I want to put this? No, because that's going to stop me from doing that. Okay, I think I want to play this here. This is getting really tricky. So it's going to go up. We're going to fireball. We're going to get +1 damage to any target. So we get to do 2 damage. And I'm going to target the griffin with the fireball. So we just need to deal 1 more water damage to him in order to kill him. I'm going to go... Oh man, how can we? How can we? I don't know if we can. We need a water spell, which means we need to kill one of these water guys. So I'm going to go... I think I want to go like... Do I want to go like this? Or actually I want this because we need even. For this one you need 2 even and they can't be equal to one another, which we do have. We've got 6 and 4. We could do it. I think I want to go here like this. If I put an even here, we can do rock wall and we can do 3 damage down this row and it'll allow me to kill the imp and give me a water spell. And if I lay the water spell here, I can play it and whip over and kill the griffin. I think this is going to work. So I'm going to put the 4 here. We're going to do rock wall. We'll gain 1 crystal for every die in the spell chain. So 1. So we're going to go up to 2. Like so. Okay. And then we're going to do a damage to each space, 3 spaces in a column. So we're going to do 1. I'm going to put this on his cancel attack. We're going to put 1 here. And then we're going to put 1 here on his second health bar that only needs 1 green damage in order to kill him. And then we're going to remove cubes here. And we'll remove this one because we killed him. And we get the imp and get to flip him. And we've got a spell here. I'm going to place it this way. And we need an odd die. So we're going to use our cantrip and spend a crystal. Like so. And we're going to change the 4 down by 1 into a 3. And I'm going to play it here on the odd die space. And now we've got 2 dice in this chain, and it ends here at water whip. So we're going to get to add 2 spaces, because 1 space to attack for every die in the spell chain. And then we go, oh no! Oh no, guys. It just hit me. We only have 1 blue die. They're tied up on these other enemies. Ooh, okay, I don't want to do that. Uh-oh, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. See, this is the tough thing too. We've got dice tied up on these other enemies here. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to put this back to a 4, and we're going to get our crystal back here. Actually, I still got to play something. So I may as well just do it, honestly. Yeah, I may as well just do it. Okay, it didn't work out the way I thought it would. We're not out of the game yet, but we should hopefully still be able to get it. What do I want to go for here? I guess we would just hit this guy, but then we would have to put it on here. It's going to eat up a blue. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not play this card. I'm going to keep this a 4. We're going to get our crystal back. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention that we've got these blue locked up. I was thinking, oh, I'll just water whip over this way and take out the griffin, but we've only got the 1 die, and you've got to go 3 spaces in a row, starting from your wall. So I don't think I'm able to put that on him. Okay, so we're going to hang on to this. And I think what I'm going to do instead is, since we don't need to place any more stuff, I mean, we've got green, but that's not going to kill him. Is there any way we can kill anything else? We might be able to kill something else. Like if we could kill this lizard and get back a blue, but that's still not going to help us. If we put that there, we could gain a bunch of crystals and hit 3 things in a column. That's going to tie up a bunch of green. I don't think I want to do that. I think what I'm going to do... Ooh, this is tough, guys. I got to do something, though. I got to do something. I could target these guys down next turn with fireballs, most likely, and take them out in water whip. So I think I'm just going to crystallize these 3 dice. And I'm going to gain 3 crystals and go up to 5. Like so. And I'll hang on to these 2 spells. And then we'll end our turn and move into the monster phase. Okay, a little bit of fumbling there, but that's part of the game, man. That's part of the strategizing and the fun of this game, is trying to figure out the puzzle on how to take down the enemies. There's a lot of low moving parts. Really, really cool. Really good stuff. Okay, so the enemies are going to attack first. So this imp is going to attack the wall, but he's got a cube on his cancel attack space, so he's not going to attack. So we're going to get that back. The griffin is melee. This griffin is melee, so they don't get to attack. The lizard attacks, but he's not adjacent to the wall. Same thing with the titan. He is melee. He's not adjacent to the wall. Same thing with the wolf. He's melee, not adjacent to the wall. So now we're going to move into the movement phase here. And I'm going to set these back over here just so we don't get too confused. This is the monster board out this way. So now they're going to move. All these guys are already as close to the wall as they can get. The lizard is going to move. And remember, we've got this little movement icon here. So they're going to move 2 spaces each turn. So he's going to go over 1. The Titan would move, but we're canceling his movement. So he's not going to move. And then the wolf is going to move over. And then this card is going to move over twice. And it's going to flip over. And it is a water Titan. Nice. And now they've got the bite icon. So now they're all going to attack. So this guy is adjacent to the wall. So he's going to attack the wall. And he destroys this section of the wall. Not good. The lizard is going to melee attack. He's going to attack this wall. And then the wolf is going to melee attack. And he's going to break down this wall since it's already on its broken down side. Okay, they're starting to breach the wall, guys. This is not good. We need to hurry up and take out this griffin as soon as possible. Okay, now we're going to move into the cleanup phase and remove all of the dice. So we'll put all the dice back over here. And then we're going to move the round tracker, and we're at round 4. And since there's no tokens here, it just moves to round 4, but they continue to get their movement and bite skills for the rest of the game. Okay, we're back to the player phase here. We got a couple cards in our hand, and we need to just kill this thing. We need to deal water damage to it. So we're going to have to take out this lizard first to get our water cube back. So let's go ahead and roll some dice. We get to roll 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 once again. So we're going to roll all of them except for 2. There we go. And we need to fireball them. So I'm going to place an even die. Let's place this 6 here. And we're going to fireball up this way. We're going to do +1 damage for each die in the chain, which is 1. Plus the 1, we can hit any target. And we're going to target the lizard and deal 2 damage to him. And he is dead. So we get back a blue cube. We get this card in our hand over here. And we'll keep these over here in our hand, I suppose. Cool. Now we've got our 3, guys. So now we need an odd die. I'm going to place this 1. Actually, I'll place the 5. It doesn't matter because we're about to win. I'm going to place the 5 right here. And we're going to trigger Water Whip. And we can hit 3 spaces in a row. We would get the effect to add 1 space to the attack that's adjacent to a space we hit. But we've only got 3 cubes. And we're going to go 1 to cancel the imp's attack. We're going to go 2 and put a damage on the griffin, and then we're going to go 3 and put this damage on the blue on the griffin, and we have taken down the griffin and killed our 3rd and final level 2 enemy, and we won the game. Let's go, guys. We beat the first apprentice mode, tutorial mode for Dicemancy, and there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial playthrough of Dicemancy by Eduardo Aguilar Leal. It is absolutely amazing. Wow. I can't speak highly enough about this game, guys. It is super, super clever. So fun. The tower defense aspect of the game is so freaking fun. This whole spell, like little spell tableau over here is just an amazing little puzzle. And once you get the game and you're not speaking through a whole tutorial like I am, and you've got all the time in the world to just sit back and really think about it, you can come up with some crazy cool spell effects to get to combine different effects. Like you could do a fire rock water whip, you know what I mean? Or you could mix those around and you could do a rock water fireball. Like you could do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then once you start playing the other scenarios, you're going to get access to chain lightning. You're going to get access to holy light and then void grasp. And you could start doing all kinds of crazy spell chains. There's also other characters to play as. You've got 5 other characters right here that you could play the game as that come with their own cantrip spells. So they're all unique. And that's going to add to the variety too. So you'll get these depending on whatever scenario you're playing. And also, last but not least, there are these night cards that get added in later scenarios to add even more difficulty and more variance to the game. So there's a bunch of these different little night cards that add different things to the game. I have not even experienced these yet, so there's a lot left, guys. I think this gives you different victory conditions, changes the game, a new loss trigger, a new way to lose the game. So all kinds of really cool additions that you can add to the game once you get past these first initial scenarios. So there it is, guys. If you liked the video, man, be sure to hit the thumbs up like button, hit the red subscribe button, and click the bell so you can stay notified of future uploads. And if you're excited about Dicemancy, dudes, put it down in the comments below. Show Eduardo some love, man. He absolutely smashed it, and everybody else that's involved with Dicemancy as well. All of you guys that did the art and everything for the game, Absolutely awesome stuff, dude. It is super good. I am so excited for the official copy to release. And being a game designer myself now, I know the absolute joy and how surreal it feels to release a game. So I know Eduardo has got to just be like over the moon right now with Dicemancy. And yeah, man. Absolutely amazing stuff, Eduardo. Good freaking job, dude. Like I said, I'm jealous, dude, in the best way possible. Like, it is so cool. I love the mechanics in the game, especially this right here. This is super, super clever. Really fun stuff. So yeah, shout out to everybody that helped Eduardo get the game to the point that it's at right now. All you guys are fantastic. And yeah, you're very much appreciated. So there it is, guys. Be on the lookout in the very near future for Dicemancy. If I get any other information about the game, I'll be sure to mention that in future videos about the game. And there will definitely be future playthroughs of Dicemancy. So be on the lookout for that. And until then, guys, have a good one. And I'll see you in the next video.